The 1991 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship is proudly brought to you by Shell and Dunlop, the world's best road-holding tyre.
Australia, I'm Mike Raymond. Welcome to Sydney's Oran Park Raceway and grand final day of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Well, the series is resolved for 91. Jim Richards for Nissan has taken the crown. But boy, do we have a race here this afternoon. Peter Perfect, Peter Brock, the Bathurst Mountain hero, has come from nowhere in qualifying to split the Nissans, and he has a slice of the front row action. We've also got the Shell Superbike series this afternoon, and to take a look at the grid, it's good afternoon to Neil Crompton.
Thanks, Mike. Yes, this will certainly add some spice to our program this afternoon. We've got superbikes at Oran Park and the absolute cream of the superbike crop. Let's take a look at the grid for the first 8 lappers. Scott Doohan has pole on the Yamaha from Rene Bonges, his teammate, the Peter Jackson man. Then Aaron Slide in position 3 for Kawasaki. From 4, it's Roy Leslie in the Ducati. From 5, Matthew Blair, the Suzuki. From 6-5, it's Doug Pittman from South Australia. From 7, it's 19, Sean Gile. From 8, it's 45, Matthew Mladen on the Nova Honda. From 9, after a praying yesterday, Mal Campbell. And Michael O'Connor is 10th on the Rothmans Honda. Scott Doohan a 13.34 in qualifying, just 1/10 of a second quicker than Rene Bonges. And they were in turn about 5/10 quicker than Slide as the flag goes down. And the Peter Jackson guy's got a shocking start. And it's Aaron Slide who's taken the lead, bike number 2, the winner of the Shell Superbike Series this year.
Looks like Scotty Doohan dropping into second as they come down to the end of the straight. Also a very, very good start there by Sean Giles on the Rothmans Honda as they go beneath the bridge and down to the next right-hander. Fantastic sight here today and a huge crowd in attendance at Oran Park to see the tourers share their spotlight with the superbikes. Aaron Slide, what a sensational season he has enjoyed. Riding the Team Kawasaki Australian Superbike champion, just a model of consistency throughout the season as we take our race cam. Riding now with Scotty Doohan.
Doohan making a run for the lead now, gets through on the inside. Slide gave him some room, now tries to fire back up the inside onto the main drag. The end of lap number 1, 7 to go. It's Yamaha leading Kawasaki. Doohan the leader, Slide in second place, then a reasonable gap back to third.
Fantastic pictures from our race cam team as you see Scotty Doohan down the front straight here at Oran Park. He keeps on keeping on Aaron Slide.
Look at, he's well positioned now for a shot up the inside under brakes here, and has a lash rear wheel hopping off the road, and Aaron Slide, the Kiwi, through on the inside. Doohan has to sit up momentarily. He's back in second place as we take race cam.
From Masterton in New Zealand, commenced racing when only 12 years of age, Aaron Slide in Supercross.
Kawasaki fires out of there nicely. Did you see the way that Aaron was able to get the power to the ground over the rough stuff? Scott just drops back a little bit. He's quicker in other parts of the course.
Down to the business end of the first heat of the Shell Super Sprint. Doohan all over the tail now of Aaron Slide's Kawasaki. Up to the dog leg. Has he got something special left the last corner of this race? Here they come, downhill. Doohan just trying to find a little gap here on the inside, but he can't do it. It'll be Slide on the Kawasaki, standing it up and coming across the line, and it'll go to Aaron Slide. What a great race. Second spot was going to Scott Doohan, and Roy Leslie picking up third place on the Ducati. Aaron Slide, winner of the first heat, but he was to do it a little tougher in heat number 2. Field looks about set. Heat number 2 of the Shell Superbikes from Oran Park Raceway. They're off the line, the 2 Peter Jackson Teamsters, as one, as they got off the line and slide away pretty quickly. But caught up in a wall of riders now. And in fact, it might well be Roy Leslie who won the dice down to the first turn. Here they are, the Superbikers at Oran Park this afternoon.
That's Matt Blair on the bike there, leading the race. Fairly outdated bike, this, 1985 model, but they put a lot of development work into it. And he's got a new bike coming along next year, but there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with this at the moment. It's going really well.
Yamaha second and fourth. It might have been one of the Hondas, only had a glimpse there. And look at Roy Leslie on the inside here. The Ducati just has a bit of a shudder under brakes. Matt Blair under pressure on the inside, but he hangs on. but only just. Now Bonges up on what becomes the outside as they sweep through this right-hander and head to the bridge. So the Yamaha leads, and Matt Blair in danger of slipping back here another spot.
We continue to ride with Scott Doohan on the second of the Yamahas.
Sean Giles is fifth. Oh, how close was that? And behind him, we've got Mel Campbell. And look at Slide up to fourth place. Yes. Fifth.
So I don't know what happened off the line there, but they're certainly showing their true race speed now, working their way through the field.
Last lap board coming up shortly as Aaron Slight closes in on Roy Leslie. Last lap. Now, can our race leader, Rene Bonges, hold off Scotty Doohan, or has Doohan got enough to throw at him? Reasonably close, but the one making the ground up appears to be Aaron Slight. He could certainly do with another 2 or 3 laps, make life interesting. And here he comes down on the inside of Leslie. Couldn't get him that time. He's very quick through this part of the circuit. Look at this. Fantastic stuff, this. Now, no. It opened there for a moment, but closed just as quickly. Up over the Yokohama Bridge again. There's the gap. The race leader going through, Rene Bonges. Second is Scotty Doohan, Roy Leslie, and of course, Aaron Slight. A great day, though, for the Peter Jackson Yamaha team. Up towards the dog leg. Rene Bonges going to win this heat. Good shape as he comes down the hill. A former 250 GP and 250 production class racer. Last turn comes up. Checkered flag at the ready. And a wheel stand as he comes out to take the checkered flag. Rene Bonges, a 1-2 in heat number 2 for the Peter Jackson Yamaha team. And Leslie just getting up for third to beat home Aaron Slight. And Mal Campbell wouldn't have been too far back behind them. Another exciting heat. Crowd enjoying it, and so did we. Hope you did too. Rene Bonges, the winner of heat number 2. Scotty Doohan takes second, a 1-2 for the PJ Yamaha team. Third, Roy Leslie on the Ducati. Aaron Slight for Kawasaki finishes fourth, and Sean Giles on the Rothmans Honda rounds out the top 5. Back here at Oran Park Raceway, we're preparing for the grand final of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Man on pole today, Mark Scaife, and Peter Brock with a share of the front row. Hope you enjoyed our superbike action today, the Shell Super Sprints after those 2 heats. Scott Doohan, the winner of today's series, on 34 points over Aaron Slight on 33. Roy Leslie third on 30. Sean Giles 24. And Mal Campbell rounding out the 5 on 20 points. Huge crowd in attendance at Oran Park Raceway today for the grand final of the Shell Series. This is the home of the grand final. And we'll take a look at how the entire field lines up today here at Oran Park for the action. As I said to you, Mark Scaife has pole position of 1:10.60. Absolutely stunning qualifying effort from Peter Brock. He'll share the front row. From 3, it's the national champion Jim Richards in the Nissan. From 4, John Bauer in the first of the Shell Sierras. From 5.25, Tony Longhurst, the Benson and Hedges BMW. From 6.11, Larry Perkins, the Mobile Commodore. From 7.20, Alan Jones, the second of the Bimmers. From 8, number 30, Glenn Seaton, the Peter Jackson Sierra. From 9.4, Mark Gibbs, the GIO Nissan. From 10, long way back, 16, Win Percy, the Holden Racing Team Commodore. Colin Bond starts out of position number 11. Dick Johnson out of position number 12. Steve Reed from 13. From 14, it's Terry Finnegan in the Commodore. 15, Peter Dillman in the BMW. From position number 16, John Cotter. 17 is John Vernon. From 18, David Thomas in the Corolla. From 19, Dennis Rogers. And from 20, Mike Conway. Beautiful start. Scaife out, gone. Right alongside of him goes Jimmy Richards, who catches Brock. John Bauer makes a good start down the outside, and Mark Gibbs also away quickly in the GIO Nissan. But as they come down into the first turn, you'll notice it's John Bauer, Smitherman, Brocky under brakes, right behind Jimmy Richards, fighting his way past Glenn Seaton and the Peter Jackson Sierra. Good start from Larry Perkins and the number 11 Mobile Commodore, and they head down to the right-hander.
Terrific start, as you'd expect from Mark Scaife and the Nissan. John Bauer came out very quickly, though, and I was a bit surprised that Peter Brock sat there for a while. Action back in the pack as they sort themselves out. There's Perkins, Win Percy, both the BMWs. And you can expect the BMWs to come on strong as this race unfolds, judging by the way they performed in qualifying yesterday.
In fact, if anyone went backwards in that first couple of corners, it was probably Mark Gibbs. He got off to a brilliant start, but he's been gobbled up by the field. Brocky sat there in absolute wheel spin at the starting line, but he's closed up right behind Jimmy Richards as Scaife disappears downhill. Here's Richards coming down on the inside of John Bow. Bow is caught one out and one back, and Brock noses the Commodore down the inside as we take mobile race cam. And here's Brocky. And swinging to the inside goes John Bow as they work away at Richards and the number 1 Nissan down to the left-hander. Mark Scaife getting away as Richards lines up Bow. Can't do it. Beautiful pictures from our mobile race cam into the left-hander.
Peter Brock putting a lot of pressure on Jim Richards, and Richards has looked down the inside of Bow. Bow's putting on a great show here, but as we've seen before, 10 laps in the Sierra at this sort of pace is just about enough for the rear tyres. So hopefully Bow can keep it up as long as he can. Glenn Seaton slotting in there behind Brock as well. First 9 cars covered by less than a second in qualifying, so we should be in for a good show for the first few laps at least.
A year where we came to Oran Park 12 months ago, we had 4 drivers in the running for the championship going to the wire. Today, the championship resolved. That's already gone to Jimmy Richards, thanks to the race at Lakeside. But look at this action with Johnny Bow doing a good job for the Shell racing team, Nick Johnson's team, trying to fend off Jimmy Richards. Richards all over him, and Bow is doing a bit of defensive stuff, trying to do the right thing. Brocky coming down right on the tail of Jimmy Richards, under brakes. Mobile race cam tells the story. The exit to the turn. Richards trying to get himself down the inside of Johnny Bow. Bow almost scrapes the tail of the car on the wall as they finish one more lap.
It's Rocky inside this time, and I'm surprised that Jim's not able to maintain that gap down the straight. Oh, someone out in the dirt in a big way.
I don't know whether let's swing around and see who we've got.
Oh,
It's Win Percy. Blimey, Charlie.
Front left of the car looked pretty knocked around then.
Thanks, Win. Thanks, Win. It's bad luck. He's gone off at the end of the straight, but at least he's still there and running. Peter Brock, 05, Mobile Commodore, working away on John Bow. In fact, the way they got past Jimmy Richards, in fact, I thought I saw Richards' hand out the window waving to his crew as he went past the pits that time.
Yeah, I caught a glimpse of that too. Richards may have a problem, but look at John Bow holding on to Brock here. Bow was saying he reckons the Sierra is just about up to its years by date. 5 years in international competition, the things aren't getting any faster, so he's having to work very, very hard here. See the car sliding all over the track.
Whoa.
Brock has to look down the inside, more than a look. He's taken him, thank you, John.
And
Brock's away, and Richards has to look up the inside as well. Look at Bow get the hammer down. The Sierra is still a very quick thing in a straight line. Richards pulls out wide, have a look, but he's not going to get him here.
The dust still there from the Percy runoff, and they'd all be skating a bit there on the rubble as they make it into the left-hander beneath the Yokohama Bridge. Glenn Seaton doing a good job. He's up fairly close to them in the Peter Jackson Sierra.
Look at Richards having a look down the outside of Bow. He moves across. There's a bit of panel crunching going on there. Nothing in between it. Richards gets it back onto the island. Bow still maintains his position. Seaton tucks onto the back of Richards. There's Percy into the pits. Tyre change.
It's up the front where you'll need to see what's happening because it's been pretty belted around, I think.
Mandatory tyre change there. And Richards down the inside of Bow.
Yeah, that was a nice clean pass from Jimmy Richards' car. Not too good. There's one that's even worse. Colin Bond's Caltech Sierra. That's parked up against the concrete wall on the approach there to Champion Curve. And Colin steps out of the car.
Got a report that Dick Johnson's come to the pits as well. So obviously, in a way, just scanning the globe, you can see there's cars all over the place. So something's occurred back there to spark all this off.
A little BMW, I think, of Tony Longhurst starting to come, pull to the inside, and he is hauling in the Commodores and the Sierras at this stage. Richards going through, Bow, then Glenn Seaton, number 30, the PJ Sierra, Larry Perkins behind him, and Tony Longhurst. It was certainly an exciting start. Larry up on the inside of Glenn Seaton, trying to push him out of the way without actually coming into contact. While all that was happening, Jonesy was trying to storm down the inside. Bondi's got some fresh life in the Caltex Sierra, and he's trying to limp back to the pits. Race full of incidents so far, but Mark Scaife is the man dominating the pack, and getting away from them is Longhurst up on the inside of Glenn Seaton.
Once again, the BMW starting to make inroads. In qualifying, very close. 10 cars under a second.
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look at the start here. Look at Skate. That thing goes off like a hand grenade. He's gone. 100 metres on the rest of the field. Brock gets the hammer down, but Bow and both Richards clean him up at the start. Hard under brakes.
Seaton coming in.
Ooh.
Oop, little touch there.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's racing. Plenty of passing going on here. Look at the giant killer. Tony Longhurst down on the inside of Perkins. He's already passed Glenn Seaton. Now moves in on the tail of John Bower.
It's interesting looking at the dust all over Dick Johnson's car. He's coming up to be lapped. I would suggest he may have tangled with Percy in that first corner. He's lost his rear aerofoil as well. And he's lost the whole rear door. So Johnson's really been in the wars there.
Mobile race cam shows us the action. There's Richo on the inside. Brock grabs top gear right at the bottom. Jim's in position. And oh, look at all that glass and garbage down there.
Oran Park drag race. Falls Nissan's way. Rocky slips back another position.
It's a bit hard to explain what happened with Jim in those early couple of laps. I mean, it looked like he really went off the boil for a minute. And I didn't see it, but you guys noted that the hand was out the window briefly. Bondi's still in trouble.
Still in the wars.
Certainly
looks like it's sitting down one side there, is it?
Yeah, I think they had the whole right rear was all torn apart. Something's failed.
The tyre rubbing on the guard there.
He's trying to get back to the pits and probably change it and belt it out so he can get back and race again.
And plenty of biff and barge in these opening laps. The touring car race.
Nicky Johnson, number 17, trying to fend off Mark Gibbs and the GIO Nissan GTR.
He's in position 17. It'll be a nice evil device without the rear aerofoils.
Gee, it's been a long time since we've seen the Shell Sierra getting bashed up like that.
Well, Nicky Johnson not having the best of days. In fact, I think he's running air conditioned today. What happened, Dick?
I don't think I cut one up the rear end pretty bad. And actually, I thought it was going to take off. I thought it was on the NASCAR again, pal.
Yeah. Was Win Percy involved in all that?
I think you could have a fair assumption of that, Michael.
That's a nice view out the back. We thank you. The wing usually covers that. It's a bit breezy in there, is it?
Well, it's not too breezy, actually. It's just that the damn thing is bad as further now. It feels as though it's swiveling on the radiator drain plug without that poor old spoiler on the back.
It looks like a ute.
Well, you never know who we might be able to pick up in it.
Oh, dearie, I'm not going to touch that. You've had a fearful weekend, qualified 12th, and that was the best part of the weekend by the look of it.
Well, I suppose you've got to have something that goes good, but I suppose there's better days to come, Mike.
All right, I'll let you get on and concentrate for a while. Don't pull up at the pits and ask him for a new back end, will you?
No, I certainly won't ask for a new rear end, although I feel as though I need one.
Okay, buddy, thank you.
Thanks.
So the number 1 car, the national champ Jim Richards, has pulled off, I think, on the entrance there to the short track.
Fred Gibson showing a bit of concern.
And that'd just about rob the weekend for Nissan if Jim's gone out and all of a sudden that little yellow Benson and Hedges BMW comes storming through to take the limelight in the final round.
Well, you just look at the way that Tony's qualified, 11.26 compared to Mark at a 10.6. But we just know that the BMW is a more consistent product over a longer journey. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. We'll take a look at Shell race score in the top 5. It's Mark Scaife, Tony Longhurst, Peter Brock, John Bow and Glenn Seaton. And will the BMW get there? We'll find out shortly. Back soon.
Well, not only is Tony Longhurst making some inroads here at Oran Park this afternoon, but teammate Alan Jones certainly is closing now on the tail of Glenn Seaton's Peter Jackson Sierra. And John Bow just ahead of him. Jones puts the nose of the BMW down on the inside there, both hauling in Peter Brock at the same time, who goes through at the moment. And here comes Jonesy up on the inside, making life almost unbearable for Glenn Seaton. Up to the Honda dogleg again, and the run to Goodyear corner. Here they come downhill. Oh, some locking up of brakes from John Bow. He almost goes straight ahead, and does.
I think he, in fact, had a deflating right front that time.
So that might well see Bow to the pits for a tyre change. Glenn Seaton is able to hose off Alan Jones down the straight. But from this point of the track, well, they all start to work under brakes. Watch Alan Jones close up on Glenn Seaton. unmistakable sound of the BMW under brakes. Now back on the tail of Glenn Seaton's number 30 car. Just ahead of them is Peter Brock in the Mobile Commodore. Ahead of Brock is Tony Longhurst, and he is closing on our race leader, Mark Scaife. That's the scenario of the grand final of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship here today at Sydney's Oran Park Raceway. As Seaton tries to hold off a very fast closing Alan Jones, and here he comes. Nothing between it. That's the exit from Sutton's Corner up to Honda now. The flip-flop that takes them back downhill to Goodyear Corner. He's close, but from this point of the racetrack, Glenn Seaton is able to get away from him. Sheer horsepower of the Peter Jackson Sierra. Look at him open the gap. Now, out of action, stepping out of the car is John Bauer, who has had an awful day. Thanks, John. Things will get better.
I don't know that my call was right there. I said there might have been a problem with the tyre. I think it's more like an under-bonnet problem for the JB car.
Yes, some smoke going out from under the hood.
They're dropping like flies at Oran Park today.
Interesting thing is last weekend, David Brabham, Anders Olofsson and a Japanese driver won the Spa 24-hour touring car race in Belgium by 21 laps. But and everybody shuddered thinking, whoops, the Nissan's going to be unbeatable at Bathurst. But now Jim's had this problem today with his car, and so they're still not entirely bulletproof. Now Jones through on the inside, and Glenn left the gate well and truly open, and Alan was able to go through.
See whether he can pull the BM in on the front straight. Looks like
Another one bites the dust.
the Lansvale Smash Repairs entry. The Dulux Auto Colour car of Steve Reed in the pits. Hood is up. That doesn't look good. Motor problems for Steve Reed and Trevor Ashby here today at Oran Park. Bit of work in the pit area today. There's our race leader though, Mark Scaife. The lad formerly from Wyong on the Central Coast. Now, of course, lives in Melbourne and has had an incredibly successful season with Fred Gibson Motorsport, the preparers of the Nissan GTR. So they've got one still running at the head of the field, and Jimmy Richards unfortunately out.
Well, we take Mobile Race Cam as Peter Brock comes up onto the main straight. He looks to be driving a little more conservatively now in this past couple of laps. Peter Brock, can you hear us?
Yeah, sure can.
What's it performing like?
Well, I've actually got a bit of a oil surge problem, as a matter of fact, so I'm having to squeeze it on through the corners, particularly on the corner onto the main straight there. But that's helping the back tyres, which are well and truly saying, hey, take it easy, Brock.
Yes, I noticed you were using a fair bit less road when you made the approach towards the bridge, so I wondered what was going on.
Yeah, well, at the moment, it's one of those situations where if I had a chance, I would disconnect the rear stabiliser bar. It's just a little bit oversteery, but nevertheless, you know, it's half a chance.
Yeah, you don't think you're going to have to stop for rubber?
Let's not even mention it.
Okay. All right.
No, look, what I'm trying to do, trying to drive it very conservatively and still do reasonable lap times, and if I can do that, I won't have to stop.
You've never been conservative, Brock.
Hey, I'm the most conservative bloke you've ever seen.
Well, anyway, the BMW and the Sierra have gone by. Is there anybody lurking in the mirror?
There's a couple of small BMWs that I think Crompton and I used to race a couple of years ago, but they're no problem.
Yeah. All right, thanks for talking to us, and I'll see you later on.
Okay.
Bye.
So I think a couple of the Sierra boys are going to go down a lap or so today on Tony Longhurst, maybe Alan Jones. There's Mark Scaife getting through there. And this is Longhurst trying to close that gap all the time to Mark Scaife. Johnson gives him racing room.
Dick's car looks terrific.
Probably can't cement in that. Dick was saying, and I think you used the line earlier, Mark, that the problem with the Sierras is that the use-by date has expired.
Certainly on that one.
The run now to Champion Corner as we take our Nissan race cam. We're riding with Mark Scaife, the race leader in the grand final of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Not a problem today for Mark Scaife. Sat on pole yesterday, very comfortable qualifying effort. A 1:10.60. Got off the starting line like a rocket ship here today. and has been able to keep that gap fairly constant with Tony Longhurst. Longhurst gained for a while, but Mark has been back on the pedal and opened it up to just over 7 seconds. There's no doubt about it, he would like to take today's grand final and would probably consider himself just a little unlucky to have run into a few problems at Lakeside in the penultimate round of the championship. A good finish there from Jimmy Richards, giving him the title. And Richards, of course, parked by the road here today.
Well, both Scaife and Longhurst in.
Surprise, surprise. And they're only paying attention to one corner, so maybe a deflating tyre there. A bit of bad luck. He might probably picked up a bit of the debris on the track. The track's certainly dirty today. And that looks like all it was. And if you look under the car, he maybe had an excursion off the track. But that'll drop him way down the order.
Certainly was going to make life impossible for him.
I was about to say that he was lapping in high 1 minute 11s, almost to the 10th, the same time that Mark Scaife was doing. Those two drivers, and Alan Jones, were the only three really getting around with any sort of pace at all. Everybody else has bled away by at least a couple of seconds a lap. He's rejoined in 4th position, so all is not lost, but it's got me wondering what that was all about.
Yeah, they only changed the left front tyre. That's where all the attention was in the pit stop, so...
It's taken a little of the pressure off Mark Scaife. Frank Gardner, maybe the one that got away. Frank, he talks to his crew members. Longhurst has got a lot of work to do, and of course moves Alan Jones up a spot, as Tony Longhurst now with at least one fresh tyre goes chasing back after the leaders again. He's got Glenn Seaton just ahead of him. Well, the rollers, the video easy entry. So he gets away down the front straight, and there's Glenn Seaton just ahead. And the Peter Jackson Sierra will take mobile race cam to find Mark Gibbs down the outside of Peter Brock. Gibbsy having a look across as well. Come on, buddy, give me a break. Trying to... Oh, no, he said... just backs her off.
Trying to get Brocky's attention there.
He won't be giving any breaks. No reason to. Now, actually, Gibbs is surprisingly slow compared to the two Works cars. I thought he might have been a bit closer, in all honesty, this weekend to Richards and Scaife, but I guess it'll take a bit of time to get used to the car.
It's a good move as he gets past Brocky. Pete now has the tail of the GIO GTR disappear away from him. Over the bridge, down through Coca-Cola Corner. She's opened that up in a hurry, hasn't he? As I said earlier, I think the Nissan team have been concentrating on their own two cars for the weekend. The car was a little more competitive in its debut showing when it was being serviced by Freddie Gibson's boys.
Not only that, there's also a difference in rubber between the factory cars and the and this customer car GIO team, and it was interesting to see how they were going to perform on different rubber. Gibbs has certainly been very consistent. He was quick at Amaroo a couple of weeks ago, but he said it to us then when he spoke to us, it was going to take a little bit of time to sort himself out and get comfortable with the car. He's working through the field now and is 5th. Brock said before on race cam he's nursing a bit of oil surge and his rear tyres are shot, so much so that he's going to call to the pits. Well, he asked me not to mention it, but he's definitely mentioning it now. And they got rubber out.
4 tyres, it looks like. Crew jump into action, well drilled. But that will put Brocky right out of the running.
Since they're very cool about it. Not much you can do about it when you're down to the canvas and the car's waltzing all over the road.
Bit of wheel spin. We'll get those rears warm quick.
Stand aside in the pit lane, please.
Look out.
All that chattering you can hear is the tyres picking up pieces of dirt and rubber and throwing them around the inner guards. He's now dropped one place and he's back in position 7, so it wasn't a bad stop from the mobile team.
It's an indication of how stretched out the field is now. Rocky came in for a tyre stop, gets back in, he's only dropped one spot.
It'll be interesting to see his pace now and whether or not he can make some ground again on the guys that have just got by him, and that's teammate Larry Perkins and also Mark Gibbs.
He's been at the pits, came out, has just passed John Cotter, one of those white BMs. Cotter and Doolan having another good day, consistent throughout the race. Remember how strongly they came back in late last year to the Tui's 1000 as Brocky gives it what for as he goes through Honda. Little Lister starboard there. I think the tyres will be more than warm now. They were probably worn out when they got to the end of the pit lane.
It's only the rears.
The engine certainly sounds strong here at Oran Park. Okay, coming out beneath the bridge. A pretty good pit stop, Peter Brock.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, Mike, but as I said to you earlier on, not exactly in the script, but we're forced to run a tyre here, which is probably a little bit soft for the day. But our main test, of course, is on Tuesday at Bathurst with a tyre which probably would have been more appropriate.
So you were down to the Pro Heart, you were right on the canvas.
Well, actually, the boys said it was a gigantic blister, so we're probably about one lap away from a Pro Heart job, as you mentioned.
So how's it feel now? You've got some fresh rubber on it.
Sensational. I feel like taking on Scapey.
Okay, get after him.
Thanks, mate.
Okay. So Mark Scaife through Champion Curve on the run-up to Yokohama Bridge. And everything going reasonably well today, considering the problems of Jim Richards. Does that brought a smile to the face of Freddie Gibson?
Jones doing very, very nice.
You got a little smile there, Fred?
Not really, Mike.
No.
Like, have a car drop out the race doesn't suit me very well.
No.
We're there to have two cars finish the race, so we've done something wrong today. But like Mark's leading the race and looks pretty comfortable at present, so hopefully he keeps on doing it.
He's doing a good job. What was the problem with Jim's car, Fred?
I don't really know, Mike. The engine's been there for a long time. It's over 2,000 kilometres now. We've been having an endurance test with it. So something's gone wrong with the engine. I don't really know. We get back and look at it, Mike, but like, that's the risk we play, don't we, really? But I'm disappointed the car didn't finish for Jim's sake.
Yeah, well, at least you've got the man out in front. That's better than running back there in third. He's doing a good job too.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, that's motor racing, and say if Mark wins it, Gibbsy's going okay now, the car for his first run, so we're pretty happy with the weekend if we get a 1 or whatever it is.
Well, we'll wait for the smile at the end of the day then.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Freddie Gibson, Gibson Motorsport, the prepare of the Nissan GTRs. And we're riding with Nissan Race Cam as Mark Scaife comes out of Champion Curve and heads up to the bridge yet again.
As Mark grabbing early gears there and trying to minimise the amount of wheel spin of the car as he made the way up to the Yokohama Bridge. This car's on Yokohama, and it seems as though when you look at the pattern of the races this year that the Yokies have been the strength in the touring car rubber, with the BMW and the Nissan on that brand of tyre and doing a pretty good job. The order at the moment, Mark Scaife, and he's got a lead, incidentally, in excess of the length of the front straight over Alan Jones. In third place, we've got Tony Longhurst. Fourth, it's Glenn Seaton. And fifth, number 4, it's Mark Gibbs. Sixth, we've got Larry Perkins. Seventh is Peter Brock. Eighth is Wyn Percy. Ninth is Terry Finnegan. And 10th is Dick Johnson.
Section of the huge crowd here today at Oran Park Raceway for the Shell National Grand Final.
These two little German cars certainly have been a success story of 1991.
It's brought a smile to the face of Ronnie Meacham, I'll tell you that, from BMW. Who was right behind the effort of BMW, getting back into racing in Australia in touring cars.
It's been a good year for him. Those imbeciles in Canberra took the luxury tax away that they imposed a year or two ago too, so the industry's looking up for Ron.
Coming down behind the Ashby Reed Commodore. Let's check them out for you now in our Shell race score. Mark Scaife continues to lead the race quite comfortably. Alan Jones in second place, being hounded by Tony Longhurst. Fourth is Glenn Seaton. And rounding out the 5, Mark Gibbs in the GIO Nissan GTR. Glenn Seaton, the Peter Jackson Sierra, runs 4th in the final of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship from Oran Park. Glenn, of course, going to the Tui's 1000 this year, 2-car team. And will be joined by Greg Hansford. And I think given that the reliability of